Always a good time to welcome in and say hello to our Premier League insider, David Ornstein. David, I don't know if you were listening just before the break, but our guys, Danny and Tim, were talking about the fact that England had named Thomas Tuchel the manager of their team there, of their national team. How serious of a candidate was Pep Guardiola for that role?
Paul, my understanding is that he was England, the FA's top target, their dream candidate to take over as manager for probably the 1 year leading up to the US, Mexico, Canada World Cup. I think there was some contact. The FA maybe reached out over the summer, but Pep Guardiola was in no position to commit at that point, and so the FA would have had to adapt their plans accordingly. When the story started to come out about Guardiola about a week ago, I made some checks and it was abundantly clear to me that it was more likely Pep Guardiola will extend at Manchester City for 1 year than anything else, including the England job. Now, he always tends to leave his decision quite late. I broke the news in November 2022, the 22nd, that he'd be signing his last contract. So that was approaching his final 6 months. And you've got to remember here that Txiki Begiristain is leaving. We're going to come on to talk about that shortly. He's the sporting director. Pep Guardiola said, part of me is leaving. But that has been interpreted by some at City as part of me is staying. So perhaps we haven't seen the end of Pep Guardiola at Manchester City just yet. Many are saying, what about the 115 charges? Could that influence his decision? Again, the sense I get is even if City are charged, it may actually embolden Pep Guardiola to stay on and continue his work for longer. Manchester City will be well aware that Pep Guardiola can change his decision at any point he wishes. We don't know it yet. It's largely speculative. But they're so well organised there that they will have some options in place. They will be looking at candidates for the event of Pep Guardiola leaving. So we may be talking about the likes of Xabi Alonso, Ruben Amorim, even Michel at the sister club, Girona, who Manchester City admire very much. And there will be plenty more as well. But the sense I get from speaking to people at and around City is they're calm, they're relaxed about the situation. And that makes me think that as things stand, the likelihood is that Pep Guardiola will go on for a little bit longer. If he goes on to 2026, that will be 10 years at Manchester City, and what an era that would be.
Well, they are already dealing with recently at least one level of turnover with Man City. Over the international break, they announced a change is coming at their director of football position. What's your read into this one?
Yeah, I broke that story on the 8th of October that Txiki Begiristain will be leaving the club at the end of the season. That came a day after the verdict was announced in Manchester City's battle with the Premier League over commercial sponsorships. I made very clear immediately it had nothing to do with that, Txiki Begiristain's departure, nor the 115 charges that Manchester City are fighting. This was long planned. Txiki Begiristain was looking at doing this from the age of 55. He's now 60. He was enjoying himself so much and working so closely with Pep Guardiola that he went on. But he is 60 now. It's time to go back to Spain. He's had 12 years at City and he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's won so much. He's also really highly regarded in the industry. And there's going to be a transition period with his successor already being agreed. It's Hugo Viana of Sporting Lisbon. Now, that was a decision that Txiki Begiristain played a role in deciding, such as his influence. And he will help Hugo Viana for 6 months as like an integration from the start of 2025. They'll work together. That will give Viana an opportunity to work with Pep Guardiola. Maybe that will play a role in Pep Guardiola's own decision if they want to carry on. Txiki Begiristain will probably still do the summer transfer window largely. And that means with Pep Guardiola only likely to stay for 1 more year if he does extend, that, it's not a long period of time that they would spend together, Viana and Pep Guardiola. There's also uncertainty about Ferran Soriano, you could say, the chief executive, because there was always a sense that Guardiola, Begiristain and Soriano would leave together. But all the indications we're getting so far is that Soriano will stay on for longer to provide some continuity. The 115 charges case, we know it's up and running, we know it's ongoing, we don't know a lot more, shrouded in secrecy. We think that the hearing will conclude by the end of this year. Then they'll go into a deliberation process. It could go on for months until a verdict is made public, maybe in the spring of 2025. There could then be appeals afterwards. So we're no nearer to hearing the outcome of that just yet.
And David, before I let you go, we're bringing it right back to where we started in a way. Eddie Howe was also linked to that England job. As for Newcastle, they lost over the weekend. They're winless in their last 4 matches. What's happening behind the scenes there?
The links between the England job and Eddie Howe are obvious because he's English, he's doing really well, he's very good at his job, he's spoken about the role and his admiration for it in the past. And there's a little bit of uncertainty at Newcastle, but he went on the record to say that he hadn't been contacted or interviewed. In some of these cases, the intermediaries would have been sounded out just to check on the situation. But as far as I know, Eddie Howe is completely committed to Newcastle United. That's not to say there aren't some issues on and off the pitch. We've seen the results of late. They've got a couple of really tough fixtures coming up. In the background, the progress that Eddie Howe saw after taking over a couple of years ago has maybe regressed slightly, a bit of a plateau. They lost their Champions League qualification place. He lost his key allies in Amanda Staveley and Mehrdad Guddusi at sort of hierarchy level. And they've had so many problems around PSR because they've spent heavily. It's about £250 million on new transfers, on salaries. They're the 6th, 7th highest wage payers in the league. They've not sold well at all at Newcastle United so far. Then came Paul Mitchell as sporting director, replacing Dan Ashworth, so more upheaval. Some speculation about their relationship, but it was always going to take time to gel, and that will continue. And then there's been some suggestions about the ownership. Are they still as committed as ever before? Yeah, I hear that they absolutely are. And yes, there's not been great progress so far on a new training ground, only a lick of paint on the existing one. But I do think they're eyeing up sites to move at some point. They're continuing deliberations for the stadium. Will they refurbish it at St James's Park or will they build a new one? So work intensively continues behind the scenes on planning to modernise the club and the infrastructure as well. And all of my information suggests that they do want to move forward with Eddie Howe. There's no appetite to change him as manager, but expectations are high because of the Saudi ownership, because of their expenditure so far. And they don't want to be where they are right now. And so Eddie Howe will be charged with winning matches. He's not been doing so of late. September was the last time they won against Wolves. They should be, in their eyes, beating the likes of Everton and Brighton, maybe less so at Chelsea and Arsenal. But they feel now the perceived excuses of injuries, of upheaval are maybe put to one side. They've got a very high quality squad of internationals in the team and on the bench. And so it will be his responsibility now. The expectations are not crazy. It's not win the league, win multiple trophies, but he has got to get the team winning matches again. That's on Eddie Howe.
Winning will be tough here coming up in the next 2 matches at Chelsea and then against Arsenal. Our Premier League insider, David Ornstein. David, thank you very much.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.